So welcome back to the show, and now I have the pleasure to have Cat Davis here.
Cat Dawes.
Cat Dawes, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I was just saying your name with my French accent, so that's what happened.
Si, oui, oui.
So how are you, Cat?
I'm amazing. How are you?
I'm great. It's really a pleasure talking to you, especially after talking to Andy a few weeks ago, and now you, it's fantastic.
Yeah, blessings. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's okay. It's great. So, Kat, I know that you are doing what we call the Nowism, which is not really an English word, but it's a word that I like. And I would love you to tell us a bit more about what it is.
Nowism.
Yes.
Nowism. It's the art of participating deliberately in the present moment. And so Nowism, it's two things. It's a demonstration of awareness. So it's the art of living in a certain way, and it's a celebration. And on the business side, Nowism is like a universal reminder service. I'm just sending out little messages of now to everybody all around the world, just reminding them that, hey, stop for a minute and just get into the now and enjoy your life, because the future that you're aiming for really is in the present moment. And so that's in a nutshell, I call it. That's basically what Nowism is. Yeah.
So it is really going into the now because we want to feel good, or because we want to create our future, or...
Okay, so Nowism it's the art of deliberately participating in the present moment. So there's a few things to cover with Nowism. First of all, as a personal operating system, it's a manner of traveling. It's a way of living in linear time, but bringing the eternalness of the now, which is the point of attraction. It's the point of creation, where you can deliberately create the life of your dreams. So it's a manner of traveling with this sort of awareness. And then on the business side, for me, Nowism is like a universal reminder service. It's a really fun, funky invitation to remind people to just celebrate the nowness of their moment, because we're all aiming so high and mighty for the future, and a lot of people are too tense. You know, they're either in the past or in the future. So Nowism is really a reminder service to teach you to hey, like, stop and smell the now, you know.
So when you're saying being in the now, is it meaning that you are sometimes stopping and just looking around you and just feeling what is around you and feeling inside you? Or what do you do when you go in the now?
Sure. Okay, so there's a really great distinction between the present moment and the now. The present moment is your interpretation of what's going on in this moment. So the present moment can be tainted by anything that you want. You can fill it up with doubt, lack, loss, worry, or you could be joy, bliss, well-being, gratitude, right? So when we talk about bringing the now into the present moment, what that really means is to bring the all-encompassing, that eternal moment into time and space, so into the present moment. And so it's those moments of inspiration. It's a moment of wow, you know, when you look around and you think, oh, my life is so good. It's what gratitude is, what well-being is, when you can feel the connection with all things around you. So that's what I mean when I talk about bringing the now into the present moment.
So it's more than just being present. It's really appreciating everything that is around us and who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. I try to treat it as really a celebration. It's a tuning fork, you know, because the thing is that there is an eternal broadcast of well-being that's happening all the time. Everything screams of it. The birds, the trees, all of nature is in this amazing dance of harmony. Now, the only thing that ever changes when it comes to feeling that eternal broadcast is my receptivity to it. So sometimes I'm tuned into it, and that's what a moment of appreciation and joy and gratitude is. And sometimes I'm not tuned into it, and that's when my life is attracting sort of like hardship, and I don't feel good, and I'm a little bit uninspired, and I'm moaning or whinging about something, noticing something that's not working. So that's why Nowism is really the art of learning how to tune yourself to the eternal goodness that is always being broadcast. The now is eternal.
The now is eternal. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's cool. So, but yourself, are you always in the now, or are you sometimes also doubting again, or
Oh,
just
I think the greatest teachers on this planet are the greatest students, and I certainly do not report to be the master of the now. I'm certainly a big celebrator of the now, and I'm a really dedicated student. I'm absolutely committed to truth. There's nothing more important in my life than to be fine-tuning myself to be demonstrating this as much as possible. And also, as you know, like when you're online and you start to as a speaker and an author, people look to you as a symbol of that thing. So it's a really nice sort of remind my fans and stuff to be in the now. It's up to me to really demonstrate that, number one, for myself, and second of all, as a service to the people.
yeah, and that's really, really important. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. It's when people are looking at you that probably you have to be a bit more conscious of this. Kat, you shared a video with me before, and really this video was kind of really inspiring. So can you tell us a little bit about how you managed to come to this Nowism, and also how you managed to get to know Andy and Mike Dooley?
Sure. Okay, so the story is it's a great story. I love my story. I love stories. Stories are ancient, and it's definitely the greatest way to teach, So I've always had an interest in metaphysics and spirituality, and I've studied a lot of it since the beginning of time. Everything from Buddhism to Christianity to, quantum physics, even law of attraction, everything that you can think of. Probably is very similar to you, right? So and you know what it's like. You can intellectually understand all of this stuff. You can read it, you can get into it and sort of feel like you're participating in it. But there's a big difference between knowing it or understanding it in your mind and then actually deliberately participating in it. So there was a time in my life when I was actually living in a van, and by choice, it's quite the gypsy type character, and my van broke down, basically. Long story short, the van broke down. And I was on my way to a festival, and it looked like all hope was lost, really. And in a very profound moment of crossroads, because, when you can feel like something bad happens, and as a deliberate creator, you start to think, how did I manifest this? How did I attract this, And so as I was dealing with all these emotions, I had a recall of my favoriteest teacher in all of the world, who's Michael Bernard Beckwith. He's the dreadlock guy from the movie The Secret, right? He's a great teacher, and I absolutely adore him. I love Michael Beckwith. So I'm in the van, and I start to recall a teaching of his, which is when you're in a state of chaos, if something happens, if your back's against the wall, you don't know what to do, what that is something is trying to emerge from you. So a really powerful thing to do whenever something bad happens in your life, one of the greatest things you can do is ask yourself an empowering question. So instead of saying, why me? Woe is me, what the, instead of going down that path, which is a really natural thing to do when stuff's going down, right? Instead, you say, what do I need to become now? What's trying to emerge from me? And so as I was sitting in this van, it was an amazing winter night. I'm out in the bush in Australia. And I started to remember, so what's trying to emerge from me? And so I started to literally take an inventory of everything that was working. I generated joy. In Nowism, I call it, you got to become a self-generating joy machine. And so I'm sitting here and it's quite loopy, right? When you really, really get this stuff, something happens and it puts a gap between you and all of the normal people on the planet. Normal people, right? Because I'm sitting there and I'm just like, oh my God, my life is incredible. And I'm just absolutely in the now, and I'm starting to take an inventory, and I'm celebrating. I'm celebrating even at a glance when there's not much to celebrate. Nowhere to live, no money, no security, now no car, right? So I start to celebrate my hands and my creativity and my adventurous spirit, and like just starting to really work on my vibrations. So from that space, what happens is there's a shift, and I could feel it. I could literally feel it. I was like, oh my God, I thought that I knew this stuff. And for really the first time in my life, in a very potent manner, I was starting to do this thing where I was feeling a feeling. Now, the heart is the thing that causes this technology to kick in, and it's a spiritual technology. I like to call it technology because it's a law. When you do this, the universe responds to it immediately. And so from this space, life started to shift for me. And I started to tell everyone, someone's going to give me a car. Yeah, someone's going to give me a car. And from that space of loopiness, as if someone's going to give you a car, right? Well, 3 weeks later, I was at a Toastmasters event, and someone in the audience gave me her car. And so then I'm going, oh my goodness, this stuff really works. And so in my new understanding, because I had a new walk, I had a new talk, I had this sort of new reality buzzing with me. And when you have a demonstration like that, it was a really great demonstration, having someone give me a car after absolutely declaring it and believing it. I believed it so deeply. And here's the thing, Bertrand, is when that woman gave me her car, I had literally practiced what it felt like to have someone give me a car, that it wasn't really much of a surprise. It was awesome, but it really wasn't a surprise because I'd practiced the feeling so much. And so from here, this is where my story just bloomed into such a great testimony to these laws and how it works, because I just started to dream really big, and I started to know the universe, the entire cosmos, responds to my belief in it. We call it the law of attraction. I am reading lots about how it's more a mirror effect. It responds to exactly whatever it is that you're putting out. So as opposed to attracting, sounds like there's a finite amount of good or bad in there and I'm attracting the good parts to it. No, it's actually just literally mirroring whatever it is that I believe is possible for me. And so the art of Nowism is, first of all, unlearning all of these limiting things that hold you back from your dreams, and then having the absolute audacity to think really big and to think really now and to live that now. That's the key, is you've got to live in this really pretend state. So part of my story was I was given a car, then I published my book, and then I was like, oh, I need to get my book to the center of industry, the time and space contract. And so I was on Facebook, and Andy Dooley contacted me out of blue, live chat. And he just literally said, we love Nowism, we think it rocks. Why don't you manifest coming to Tahiti? We'll be there in 5 weeks. And that's where it all changed for me. I just started to manifest and manifesting in quantum leaps, And so now, Angie and Micah, it's 2 of my closest friends. I spent Christmas with them this year, and it was just an absolute buzz. And then from that space, I actually had the pleasure 5 months ago of meeting Michael Bernard Beckwith, who I love. And I got to give him a Nowism award. This is a great idea. What a great way to meet my favoriteest teacher, is to give him an award. And it literally was an award, a consciousness award. And I was congratulating him for being conscious. On behalf of the present moment, thank you for filling it up consciously. So the point of my whole story is that if you imagine, you manifest. You got to be to become. That's a very important part of Nowism, is whatever you want to become, you have to literally be it now. You got to walk in that. You got to talk in that. You got to operate from your end result. How does it feel now that you've made all the money that gave you the freedom? How does it feel now that you've succeeded in your project that you were trying to make manifest? How does it feel now that you have the lover of your dreams in your life? You got to absolutely embody the vibration of how that feels.
Yeah, that's completely amazing. Your story is just amazing. But there's one point that I would like to clarify.
Sure.
Did you go to the festival or not?
I did.
I did.
I did. And it was really good because I needed to make some money. So I had a dear friend of mine, an Aussie friend. He came and bailed me out. In Australia, you call it bailing you out, And he turned up after he. I called him and I was like, I need help. And he was like, aha. And he hung up on me. I was like, oh. And then they turned up later. They found me and took me to the festival.
Okay. That's good. Now, you said something that it's a mirror effect. Okay, that I kind of understand. But when you say, what is possible for me? But this is kind of difficult because, let's say, if I want to attract my life, two things, a house and a girlfriend.
Yes.
How do I know what is possible for me?
Well, it has to do with what story you're telling yourself, you know. The thing is, if you study a little bit of quantum physics and start to get into the science of this stuff, where Eastern mysticism and spirituality meets science, there's absolute proof that all things are possible. There is an amazing presence here, and it's not an absence, right? It's a presence. There's a life force that runs through all things, and it responds according to your belief in it. And I know this because I've deliberately shifted what I believed was possible for me, and I got immediate results. And it's because I committed to it 100%. So if you believe, and you know what, we inherit a lot of belief patterns that limit us. We believe that, you know, there's not enough to go around. We believe that you have to work really hard for money. We believe in all sorts of things that run through our society, and that's a normal belief to have. However, all the people who are successful on this planet, and I mean highly successful, are really living like really adventurous, amazing lives. One thing that they all have in common is that they have mighty imaginations. They really have the audacity to sit and to just feel and imagine what would my life be like if, you know. And it's through just telling that simple story that your life literally starts to open up. Doors start to open up for you. So it's really, for me, it's about the story that we tell ourselves. And once I really shifted that story and I started to, you know, well, what if I could be an amazing speaker and promoter of the present moment? What if I could have a cartoon series that expresses the laws of the universe? What if I could have a complete empire that celebrates the present moment? Like, I had to start actually telling that story before the universe is going to even consider bringing that to me. And it's not even a consideration. That wasn't explained very well. It's really just, as I think, so shall it be. It's a mirror effect. It's like if you put a picture of a pen in a mirror, it reflects it back to you straight away. It's not hard. It's not easy. It's nothing. It just is, right? If you could have a mirror that was big enough to put an iceberg in the mirror, do you think the mirror would have any more strain as to whether it was reflecting the iceberg or not? Of course not. It's a mirror. And so when I really understood that, oh man, my life really started to change, because whether it's Abraham says it really well, if it's a castle or a button, same amount of creative energy in the universe. It doesn't know how to quantify big or small. It doesn't work like that. It just literally reflects whatever you believe is possible for you.
That's the first time I'm hearing this said in this way, because I just spent the weekend with Michael Lozier, you know, the law of attraction, but he was talking about vibration. But the first time you mentioned the term mirror, and that's really, I think it explains far better. So, and once you start to get this feeling inside you of the now and what you want to have and who you want to be, now I see why Andy Dooley and you are good friends.
We're crazy, man.
Yeah, completely. So once you have this, how long do you do this for? As long as it takes, or for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, or you do it all the time?
You know, here's the key. And I remember Andy saying this too. You got to just do it because it feels good. You know, when you go to meditate or you go to visualize, one of the most important things to do is to not go into the universe to get something from it. That's not what it's about. It's about going and plugging in simply because, oh man, that just feels so amazing. And when you just start to really, this is what the now part is. You just really celebrate where you are and what you've got right now. Oh man, that's when the universe goes, oh, your life is extraordinary. Here, have more of it. Here's more extraordinary. Here's more extraordinary. What happens is when you start to really reach to get stuff, there's a bit of resistance that happens in that process. There's a really important distinction that you go into these places and for instance, if you're manifesting a house or a relationship, that you just feel what that feels like to have that house, have that relationship, simply because, man, it just feels really amazing to feel like that. And when you take away your attachment to actually receiving the thing, that's when it just pours in, and it pours in quicker than you can keep up with it even. But you've got to just keep your attention right in the now, and just do it because for the joy of it.
Okay, I got it. So it's in fact playing. You're playing the now.
Yeah, it's a celebration. Absolutely, it really is a celebration. Life is supposed to be fun, and that's one of the things that I really was my dream about bringing to the world via Nowism, is that a lot of the feeling tonality of being spiritual has a lot of discipline involved, and you got to meditate and you got to fast and you got to do these things. Now, don't get me wrong, I do all of those things and I love to do all of those things. However, for the general public, people who are just starting to feel like they want to create a change in their lives and they know that there's more to it than this, but they're not sure what it is, sometimes the idea of, going and meditating on a hill for 3 days or fasting is not really very attractive. It's not a very fun way to spend your time, and it doesn't feel like, oh man, I could even deal with that, right? So for me, Nowism is like a reminder service that, the whole task is now. If you think about changing your entire belief patterns, oh man, you're going to get caught on that and probably never start. But if you just deal with the present moment, what can I do right now to feel good? What's the highest good that I can give right now? How can I serve right now? What can I demonstrate that's good and whole and abundant right now? If you come from the present moment, then it's a really attainable thing. And that's where I enter into the whole celebration mode, because your life is now. You got to live your life now. And some of the happiest people in the world are often the ones that don't have a lot. And it's because that they don't necessarily want a lot. They're just really enjoying the now. But that doesn't mean you can't have all of your dreams come true. And that's what Nowism is about. It's finding a happy balance between just celebrating the now, being happy where I am with what I've got, and also projecting and intending and deciding and creating my amazing, incredibly adventurous future.
That's incredible what you just said. Because I love the now. I really love it. And but for me, I'm doing this in a different way than you. So I love watching trees. I love being in the nature. I love watching the clouds.
That's it.
And that's really when I'm feeling good. Just what we're doing now. I'm completely with you now. So I don't, and I love it. But then after you have reality also sometimes kicks in, and you say, oh, I need to buy stuff. I need to offer things. I need to do this. And that's when you say, oh, but maybe I can't afford this.
Well, that's where you have this opportunity, and it's a muscle. It gets stronger, I believe. When you can, okay, so you've been sitting with the trees and you're looking at the clouds and you're just really feeling the nowness of the moment. It feels really amazing, right? And then phone call, time to go back to reality. So as you go back into reality, the key is to just bring a little bit of that brilliance with you, and bringing the brilliance into the mundane. And so literally, like when you go to write something down, just like take a moment in time to just give thanks for the pen and for your ability to even write, and just to express some sort of magic in the mundane. Because it's when you start where you are with what you've got. That's what Mike Dooley talks about that a lot. You just start where you are with what you've got and bring the magic to the mundane things. That's when things start to shift. But it really is a discipline, it's a muscle, and the more committed you get to truth, then the bigger your results are. You yield much more fabulous results and really quickly. You've got to be really laser-like focused to your commitment to it, And people at work, if you actually work in a workplace, they'll be like, oh my God, like what has happened to you and what are you on, because you're just so flying around the office and you're just celebrating, drinking coffee. You're out of control. But the truth is what you're doing is you're tapping in to the eternal broadcast of well-being and goodness and greatness and inspiration right here, right now with what you've got, And that it really is the key to creating the life of your dreams, I believe.
Yeah, but you demonstrated this quite well, because you went. So, how was your life before then? Before you
My
had
life
this?
before.
Yeah.
You know what? I've always been very creative. Um, you know what? I had a lot of ambition. I was really ambitious. And I wanted to see this thing happen, and it's got to happen. And I just got to do this thing. And how am I going to do it? And I don't know where to start, but I've got all this genius inside of me. And oh my God, and so although Nowism had been born quite a while ago, I wasn't practicing at all because all I could see was that, oh my God, this thing that I wanted is like it's out of reach. I'm reaching for this thing and I just can't even get there and I don't know how and what and so for me, I think that the very thing that I used to think was an asset, which was my ambition, was my biggest obstacle. Oh my goodness. As soon as I stopped and I dropped it, as in dropped being so serious about achieving and having my dreams come true and being someone and doing something, as soon as I really just loosened that up, oh man, my results changed instantaneously. And so, as more practically, my past has been, I've been a dancer, professional dancer. I'm an artist, so I paint murals. I do fire dancing. I do stilt walking, balloon twisting, a great writer, speaker. I've always been really in the entertainment industry. And, if there's one thing about my nature that I'm really grateful for is I've never, ever felt like I had to go and get a real job. Never. I've just always winged it. I've been down to my last $5 and I've just always known that, you know what, something will give. But my idea for what was possible for me wasn't always really large, and it is now. I know that all things are possible. And as I sit on the top of my Nowism empire, I'm like, wow, I'm so thankful for the proper use of my imagination. It's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. But I think that's two things that you said here is one that you let go of achieving, of willing to achieve, and second thing is I think you were a little bit hard with yourself because when you had this van crashing, you said, "Why did I attract to this?"
Oh yeah, everyone does that. I think, especially if you're on the seeker's path, like anyone who has any interest in the law of attraction, whenever anything negative happens, you immediately go, "Oh my God, quick, what's going on? How come I've attracted this?" But yeah, what I've learned now is that in any sort of chaos, oh man, that's like an opportunity for a bit of a celebration, because something's trying to emerge from you. It's just it's a powerful space to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that sometimes you need to arrive to this place just to be able to do this.
Really, it's contrast.
Yeah, sometimes I would love to live without too much contrast,
Then it would be like a buffet that's already got everything that you want, and you wouldn't have the opportunity to go, "Ooh, I really like that, and I really like that, and I really like that." Because how can you really like something if you don't really not like the other thing? Do you know what I mean? It really serves a divine purpose, and that's why we're here: is to sift through all the contrasts and decide. Here's this great big thing I do not want. Thank you. Now I know what I want. I'm going to give my undivided attention to this thing over here. But most people keep telling the story about why they want this thing over here. I want it because I don't want this, and look how bad this thing is, and da da da. If you just give thanks, I thank you for showing me what I do not want, and give your undivided attention to the preference, man, that's the proper use of contrast,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely, yeah. And I start to get this, and you're right, and and I don't know what to ask after now. So so then you made Andy Dooley and Mike, and
yeah.
And that's now you're working with them now to create something bigger, or what's
you know what? Andy's really gracious to me. He lets me speak at the end of his seminars and stuff if I'm around, and they're really amazing supporters. Mike's just beautiful to me. I'm not actually creating anything with them. Maybe down the future, they're both really supportive of Nowism, the stylistic, goodness of Nowism. You know, I did a really amazing interview with Mike, and that was really a pleasure, and I'm really grateful that he gave me his time to really sift through his world. You know, and it was a funky interview because I wanted to treat him more like a rock star and find out, you know, what's in his pockets and that sort of thing. You know, it was a really great time. Also, Michael Bernard Beckwith has been really gracious to me, and all of these guys are on the board of advisors for Nowism. So they're like, you know, they're in amongst it. But Nowism is in very big development stages right now. We have some really exciting things growing and unfolding, and I feel really blessed that I have this amazing vibrational support around me of such great metaphysicians and visionaries on the planet. It's awesome.
Yeah, but you attract them also because you want your message to go across.
Yeah, man.
Completely. Yeah, that's great. So to go back to the doubt and this kind of thing that people are living every day, when they are in this moment of doubt, what can they do? What do you do?
You know, a cool thing to do, because I have it happen too. Doubt pops up about something. Doubt, boom, there it is. You know what I always do now is I go, ooh, look at it. There is doubt. And if you separate yourself from the doubt and you just look at the doubt and go, ooh, I see you, doubt, and I'm hearing you. I hear what your opinion is. What happens is automatically you're observing the doubt as opposed to being the filter of doubt. If you're in the doubt and you're going, I don't think this is possible for me, I'm worried, I'm scared, I don't have enough, whatever lack, loss, limitation you're expressing, then it's happening to you, you know. But when you observe it, if you just pull yourself back just for a little second and you watch the doubt, then it's happening through you, you know, and you're not identifying with this thing. And so one of the exercises that I teach with my coaching clients is when the doubt comes up, observe it, say hi, and then just give thanks and let it pass, and then give your mind the alternative thing to sit on, you know, and to give it the more empowering, truth orientated statement, chatter, whatever it is, so that you're canceling out the negative thing. Yeah.
That's amazing because what you said is exactly what I'm teaching and what I'm doing with fears. But I see them as my friends. I say thank you very much for being here and thank you for trying to protect me. But I don't need you now. So maybe in the future. Yeah. Yeah,
it is. It's a really nice non-violent way to just let it, and then it just seems to disappear. Mm-hmm. Instead of waging a war against it, you know, like anything, when we push against stuff, it just gets bigger, you know.
Yeah. So when people have problem with money, because money is you're exposed to this every single day, many times a day. How can they do this? You know, because they go out and they see the bank account going down, and they're wondering, how can I go over this?
Yeah, sure. For me, you know, abundance means having what I need when I need it. And when I started to look at money in that respect, abundance is having what I need when I need it. Then I started to notice how rich my life was, you know, is. I started to notice, oh, look at how many leaves there are on the trees. Look at how many blades of grass there are. Look at how much sugar there is in the jar. Not that I eat sugar. It's a good example. You know, like you just start to look at the abundance. And if you just train your eye to notice the availability, then you'll never go without. But it's when you believe in this illusion of, oh my God, less and less and less and less and less, then you'll experience more of that, you know. But haven't you always noticed that things always work out for you? And though the bank account goes down, it goes up as well. Like something replenishes that at some point. If you just learn to focus on the replenishing part of it, then you'll start to see more abundance in your life. One of the practices I have is that, you know, if I'm really down to my last finances, I gotta give the last part of it away. Just give it away, because everything's going to be okay. Things always work out for me, and I know this. I've been in very dire situations, so I have a great arsenal of experiences where, you know, my life certainly is not anywhere near what it used to be regarding lack, you know. And so what I know is that there is more than enough, and you cannot have what you're not willing to give away, you know. So it's a law of circulation, and if you demonstrate a certain overflow to the universe, then the universe, God, whatever you want to call that presence, the force, it watches your overflow, and then it has to replenish you. Like, you can't outgive the universe. You just can't do it. You know, you can try, and I recommend it.
Yeah, and I guess you tried before, probably.
Before,
I guess you tried before, yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, in fact, it's every time you spend is to say thank you that I can spend.
Yes, yes. To notice that I have this potential to give and to spend. It's such a beautiful thing, and to not look at money as the symbol of freedom. You know, that's because that's what we do. We it represents. This means I can do what I want to do when I want to do it. You know. To change the meaning of that is a really big liberating exercise, you know, and just to look at it's a promissory note, and it just goes out, you know, it goes out, it comes back, and it's a beautiful thing. But I think it's really important that when you're focusing on abundance, to notice the abundance, you know, and not just money isn't abundance. Money is just a part of it, you know. Look at the abundance that the world is representing. Look at the abundance that it's demonstrating to you. It never ends. There's so much goodness. There's so much overflow. Our planet is so rich with resources.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And when I do this, I'm looking at all my friends I have, and that's when I'm feeling so abundant, because I receive so much support, so much love, so much everything from everybody, you know. And
isn't it beautiful?
Oh, it is lovely, you know, and it's lovely to know that even when I'm in a dark place, they are here. When I'm happy, they are here. I can share, I can do, and that's the most beautiful gift, you know.
It really is, you know. The expansion is what's ever present, you know, and for me, you know, every day when I wake up, I just set an intention to grow, you know, like whatever this day brings and whatever magic it can bring and whatever challenges too, I just fully throw myself wide open and commit to the opportunity to expand and to grow. It's important, you know.
Yeah, and that's the only thing you can do, really. It's just expand yourself. It's just, as Wendaya will say, being a better person than yesterday and tomorrow than today.
Yes, that's right. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful, yeah. And that's our life, you know.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So your life completely changed in how long? 10 months, 12 months?
Well, this particular story is, 10 months, you know, like that story happened 10 months ago. Yeah. And so, and, you know, a lot of those quantum leaps happen within 6 months. So what it is a great testimony to how fast manifestation can happen according to your commitment to demonstrating the laws, you know, and just really blocking out anything that limits that, including friends, family, anything that is going to think you're a little bit loopy and bring you out of you now. You know, like, it's not that I ditched everyone, but I certainly tuned out and gave it less airtime and just started to really focus on what's possible for me, and telling that new story and sticking to it, even though there was not much proof of it working, you know.
Yeah, that's probably the most difficult part. Without any proof to be continuing doing this,
Yeah, you know, that's the faith thing, you know, and that's it's a muscle. It gets stronger. And here's the thing is, when you just start generating the feeling, you just feel good. And that should be enough reason just to do that, you know. We have this amazing ability to operate independent of circumstances, external situations and things, you know. That's an amazing skill, inbuilt evolutionary thing that we have going on, is this potential to not need the outside world to dictate how I feel. Have you ever noticed when there's like everyone else is having a bad time but you're having a great time, you know? Like, that's a great, you know, it's a demonstration of like our potential is just so there, but you got to activate the choice. And that's what Nowism is all about, is activating the choice deliberately.
How will you teach this to children? Because I see my daughter, she's 11, and she's starting to embrace this and starting to notice synchronicities. Sometimes she say, I was just thinking about this, and here it is.
Here it is, you know. Yeah. It's so great. You know, kids are our greatest teachers, and they have such minimal baggage so far, you know. And so I find that kids jump onto the now wagon really quickly. You know, I've held workshops, Be to Become, where you get them to write out, you know, what's 10 things that you want to do in your life before you die. You know, what do you want? And just get them to aim really, really high, and then get them to, you know, pretend that that's happening now. How does that feel now that you're, you know, an astronaut and that you're going around the planet on a jetpack? You know, like whatever. Just getting them to really embody the nowness feeling of it. Kids have no resistance to that, you know. That's fun, you know, and that's why, you know, a lot of spirituality, you know, talks about, you know, having a childlike innocence, you know, having a childlike participation in your unfolding. And so for me, kids are great examples, and yes, any sort of teaching like this lands on them very, very simply. They didn't have a reason to doubt it, you know. And it's good to bring their focus to it. For instance, you know, I was thinking about my friend, and then she called, oh my goodness, to talk about, you know, the idea that you're all connected, and that your thoughts do go out, and that your feelings do go out, and we're all, like, you know, connected on a really invisible level, and how fun that is to play with that. And then because what you're doing then is disturbing that muscle into action, you know. It's good.
And it's completely true. And I have a little story that happened in the weekend, and okay, there was a mess up with the room of Michael, and next day they said there's no room anymore, and I was driving to get him, and I said, okay, I believe there is a room. I asked the reception, and they say, no, there's no room. And I said, this question, can I talk to somebody who believes that there is a room? And then suddenly they found one within 10 seconds, so That's it. Here. Yeah.
You were totally available to there being a room, you know, like, that's the thing, is you didn't allow the story to be anything other than that, you know. And you were also potentially in quite a joyous, non-resistant state. You didn't care if it happened or not, really, but it would just be really good if it did, you know. And that's the key, you know. It's cool, great story.
How do you believe in yourself? Because in fact, when we were talking about this, I was just saying, okay, in my mind, if I can't get successful, it's because of me. Mm-hmm. So how do I shift this? How do people shift this?
I start to take a list of things that you really love about yourself, you know. Everyone has a unique thing going on. No one can be youer than you, you know. And so everyone has an amazing amount of ingredients of goodness, gifts, talents, capacities, things that only they can do. And if you put your attention on those things and just start to really love yourself for them, you know, and for me, like, just really writing a list of what do I really like about myself, you know. And, you know, even some of the most, you know, depressed people can eventually, after a little bit of work and a little bit of, you know, shedding some of the blame and the shame and all of that stuff, if you just commit to finding something, you start to find something. And even if you can only find one thing, it's like, you know, in Nowism I talk about how one single thought can potentially be the leader of an army of unstoppable thoughts. It's like vibration activation, Andy Dooley, you know. It's, you know, one deliberate thought brings it on. It's an avalanche in the making, you know. So when it comes to yourself, just notice the one thing that you like about yourself. Maybe you're a really generous person. Maybe you like the way that you write, or maybe that you can sing, or, you know, whatever it is. It can be really quite mundane. Maybe you just literally like the way that you have the love for your mother and you call her every day, and that you're connected, you know. Like, there's always something to love, but you got to go on a hunt for it sometimes, you know. And that's what this is all about. It's about just deciding, activating a choice to deliberately look for the good, you know.
Yeah, I think that this is what most people need to do, is just believe in themselves. They can do it. And as you say, there's no better you than you. I like it, so, Kat, our time is nearly up. So it's incredible. It was so fast. So what are your plans? Are you planning to do for your movement, or whatever you call this now?
Yes,
are you planning to do something worldwide, or are you trying to do some tour in Europe? Or
now? Yes, it is. I'll tell you. I'll give you a quick rundown. I'm in pre-production with a cartoon series that I'm creating. I'm an artist, so I draw, you know, and it's a cartoon, really funky, fun. Free Will is the name of the lead character, and and it's about the fun of universal law. So watching how when I feel something, how it affects something out here, and then during the day I line up with it eventually. That's the basic premise. Now so there's a cartoon series. There's also an organic chocolate factory, which is all themed by it's an attraction that will be themed by the cartoon series. And then there's also stage shows. There's a stadium show that will be in pre-production as we start to move through all of this other development. It's got to go in stages, I think very big and I think very fast. But I have an amazing team, and we've all come together, and this has become a reality. Like we're chipping away at this thing, as well as I write books and be doing a speaking circuit soon, Australia, USA. There's lots happening. I'm certainly not starved of things to do, and I love my life.
That's great. That's fantastic. So if you're planning to come one day to Europe, Ireland, the UK, I would be happy to host you. Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to that, Bertrand. And I appreciate your interest in Nowism and for having me on your show. It's awesome. I think that this was incredible. I really enjoyed every second with you, and I would like to say thank you to Andy to introduce you to me.
Thank you, Andy. You.
And I'm looking forward to meeting you in the future. So thank you very much.
You too. Bless you.
You too.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.